How do you feel like your line has dealt with the challenges of the health at defensive end?
Yeah, I like how, from the beginning they embrace what we talk around here. Be at your best when your best is needed, and they're all ready to go. They practice hard every day. The next man up. We never want to see somebody get banged up. Somebody goes down, the next guy's ready to go. We try to teach big picture concepts so a guy like Isaiah Neal can fill in a lot of spots on that line because he's a good football player. You're just trying to get your best 4 guys out there at one time. You have your 4 fresh ones. Somebody gets tired, they get a drive going. Hey, put another guy in. That makes it our 4 best. And the kids have done a good job. They know our concepts. They know how we want to play things on our D line. Certainly we can sharpen them up, but pleased with where they're at mentally.
How difficult of a challenge was it, specifically, Florida Heat on Saturday against a team that loves to run the ball, got some physical linemen, athletic guys, big guys. How difficult was that challenge, and how did you guys respond?
In the Florida Heat, we've had tropical weather up here this fall. It's been great. So I don't think the heat wasn't a big deal. It was a nice day down there in Tallahassee. The physical, they've got some beautiful old linemen down there in Florida State, and our kids ran towards that challenge, and I was pleased to see them. I thought we were pretty stout at the point of attack. I think we got to tighten up some things on the edge. There were some critical downs. There was a lot of third downs that we were right there as a defense, and the continued drives for them that we need to sharpen up and get better as we go down the stretch, though. But I thought physically we were able to stand in there. Now, how we do things and little techniques, things like that, they need to be sharper this week on the road.
You've talked about wanting to rotate your defensive line as much as possible, but obviously with the injuries, that makes it a little bit more difficult. How do you approach that now that you're a little bit shorter?
Well, it just like it's always been, get the 4 best guys on the field. And yeah, you got guys hurt. We haven't always had all the bullets in our gun every week this year, but that's okay. Get your best ones out there. When he gets tired, he's no longer your best one. And those kids, they buy into, they work hard in practice. So if you work hard in practice, and you all of a sudden now you're one of our best 4, that's fine. And get out there and perform when that opportunity presents itself. And that's their mindset. It's my mindset. They're not looking around for pity. Let's go out there and play Pitt defense.
How would you assess what you've gotten snaps-wise out of guys like Nate Temple, Maverick, guys who have just jumped a bit more into the mix in light of some of the injuries in defense?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with the way Nate went out there Saturday. I'm really proud of Nate. If you look at Nate's career, he's had a lot of adversity thrown at him physically, and it just keeps going. And that kid has not blinked. He hasn't complained one time. He has a great attitude in our meeting room and works his tail off there, and it'll continue that way again this Saturday. So I'm really, really pleased with the way Nate mentally has always approached the game. So it wasn't speed up. Oh man, I'm in the mix now. Nate prepares every week like he's going to be a starter. And the guys respect that. I respect that. I'm not surprised that he's out there doing a good job for us.
With Jashir Whittington being a bit of a younger guy, how big was it for his confidence to get that fumble recovery on?
Well, it's you watch. The week before, he was in there a handful of snaps, and boom, he gets a sack right away. When Brad got better is when he decided practice was going to be of the utmost importance to him. And he lines up next to guys in practice that practice their tail off. Nick James, Sean Fitzsimmons, when Ghost was in there, those guys practiced their tail off. And when Josh saw that, when he started really buying into practice, my confidence in him grew, his confidence in himself grew, and he's starting to make those plays. I think that fumble was a critical play, and I'm really excited. My confidence in him just grows by the day.
How did leading up to that, they were running the ball on that drive. They were kind of sort of pushing you guys back. Could you feel momentum at that point shifting to Florida State, and then how big was that fumble to take the momentum back?
You hit it right on there. You were there. They were moving the ball, and we had to get a stop. They subbed. It allowed us to sub and get some guys in there. He was only in there for one play. He said, "Oh man, I lost some reps," but man, he made a play for the football team. That was a pivotal snap in the game.
At the halfway point of the season, how would you assess just how your group has done in terms of getting to the quarterback, both on the interior and on the edge?
They've had some success getting there without as much pressures, I think, but every week, we left a couple out there this past week, and this would be great opportunities again this week. Stop the run. I think we can be a little firmer against the run and present ourselves with more opportunities to rush the passer and get there, because I do think athletically we're in a good place. We still have some really good players up there.
I referenced it after the game on Saturday, but just that you guys have been in some close games and lost them, and then you flip that on Saturday, you have a close game and you win it. What was the mood like in the locker room? How good did it feel to, I guess, come on the other side.
I think when you go, sometimes you need to go through adversity, and unfortunately, shortcomings and losses teach you a little bit more. And we've been down that road. And now hopefully we get that flip moving forward, because we're going to get faced with those. We will be a team that every fourth quarter, every week, we expect to be in a game and be on the right side of it. So certainly you get emotional. Okay, now get that win. How fast can you move forward on Tuesday like today?
You get to go up against the offensive line a lot in practice. What have your impressions been with Kendall Stanley and Ryan Carrera filling in, and then just how the offensive line has been handling that injury?
I really enjoy starting interruption. I'm sorry. I enjoy relationships with those kids. You're with them all the time, and those are two of my favorites. I'm not surprised one bit that they went out there and did a good job. I watched Carrera do it at guard, at center. He's a consistent, everyday player. Stanley, I mean, I was really excited for him. Gave him a hug before the game. I knew what we were going to see out there because I know that it's practice. You're not surprised when they do it every day, and then they get their opportunity. You're really pulling for them, especially those two kids. I think they perform at a consistent level in practice. I'm not surprised one bit.
And how do you think the offensive line as a whole has handled the injuries? Because we obviously know how it went last year from seeing them this year.
What you see, Coach Darbo, I think, has done a great job. There's some brotherhood in that room, in this football program. Next person, whether it's performance or injury, whatever, it's next, and that's what it's the next person, it's the next game. Let's go. Let's keep this thing rolling. I think this program's done a good job with that.
What are some things that stand out about Syracuse's offense and what you have to face?
Yeah, I think they're a prideful program. They established the run. They went up there against SMU, and we know what SMU is all about around here. And they started that football game and went down the field, 8-minute drive. They are physical. They got some big kids up front. The running back position is very talented. They're too deep right there. It's very, very physical downhill players. We have to be ready. Bring our big boy pads and stop the run in the dome, because I think that is their plan. That should be their plan. I think they had success with it, and that'll really help their young quarterback out.
Coaches coach in a lot of places. It's not unique to go back to a place where you have been before, but and it's been a while since you were there, but do you still have any connections at Syracuse? Any feelings about that building or anything?
That was a good spot for my family and I early in my career, and I have nothing negative to say about that, and I'm really, really excited to bring this group of guys up to the Dome on Saturday, because it's a great place to play college football.
I was curious, you talked about Isaiah a little bit earlier. Was that the idea of him potentially playing D-end, even in an emergency situation, was that always in the back of your mind for a while? When did that kind of come up?
Yeah, those were talks that could go back to the winter. When you watch a kid, is he this, is he that physically? He's a competitor. He's a smart football player who takes coaching extremely well. So there was times in spring ball, there was a little bit more times in fall camp where he would go out there for a handful of snaps of practice, or in the meeting room. He's an intelligent kid. He understands concepts, and he was getting it sprinkled in there. It wasn't just all of a sudden he moved out there. That was not brand new to him. And earlier in the season, I think it was West Virginia. He played some end out there in some big packages and things like that. Yeah, it did just sneak up on him. He knew that. It was his mind and my mind, and that we put him out there.
Forget it. Has he, either this year or last year, did he play end in like the third down package sometimes?
It would have been creative if we did put him out there. I think we maybe did a little bit, but typically he was playing inside at the nose guard position to run around, and now Nick James has stepped his game up. We put Nick in there and slide Ghost out there. That
was unique for Nick, right? I don't remember seeing him in there too much this year.
That it hadn't been, because that had been Isaiah's role, and is really good at it. So now he moved pieces around, but you hadn't seen it out there on Saturday. But there's a long line of kids that really want to be in that position, so they're ready to go.
Anything else? Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.